Okay, welcome to my first and hopefully last knife review. In this case, very important viewer out there. By the way, click subscribe below, right there, right, if you like this video. And please click on any of the links because, you know, it doesn't cost you any additional money, but I get a little credit and a little money back from the brands, so I really appreciate it. We've got the James Wayland, James brand, right? We have the West by Quiet Carry, and we have the Bexar by Tactile knives. All right, so these are the three that we're going to be comparing today. We had a request by Mookie Chuck 123. That seems to be his username. Never heard of the guy, but we'll continue along. Let's do some size comparisons here. So we've got, this is a bug out, Benchmade. All right, you can see, open. All right, all a bit smaller. They all vary in size quite a bit. Look how small the West is. All right, we'll take the Benchmade away. This is what people consider the real king of pocket. I think it's the 5.56. It's Benchmade. Griptilian Mini. It's another way other people call it. I happen to like the serrated edges. I know they're a pain in the ass to sharpen, but you know, what the hell. Great knife, great carry. This is the Quiet Carry IQ front flipper. All right, another good size comparison there. Very similar in size to the James. I can tell you that this flipper, there's no action like this. This is the best. Look at, oh, this is gorgeous. Here it is compared to a Swiss Army pocket. So you can see all different sizes. No crossbreeding, guys. All right. My notes just closed. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna start with James brand. I literally just poked myself. I think I drew blood. I will say this, these knives are not easy to open or close. The slip joint is great for its thinness, not so great for easy action, up and down. And you can see how complicated it is to open these things. But we'll get to that in a second. So let's start with James. I know there are people out there who don't like the word James, but you know what? You gotta get over it. This is a gorgeous knife. It feels incredible in your hand. This is the Wayland. It's the G10 black and black blade version. It's $189. There is a incredible rosewood and stainless steel version that's $199. It's $10 more. This weighs 2.8 ounces. Definitely the heaviest of the three. Blade length. Get out my trusty. Goes at 3 inches. Right. Full length. Almost just shy of 7. You know, and by the way, 3 inches I think is your max legal carry in most states. Closed length, I didn't write that down, but let's do it right here. A little over 3.5. It's I mean, look how well made this knife is. It's just beautiful. And its width, I think this is the thickest of the three. It also tapers, right? So I did the thickest part is 0.31 inches. It's a sheep's foot cut blade design. The blade is CPM S35VN stainless steel, titanium handles. Actually, yeah, I think it's titanium. You know, I don't even know. Yeah, it must be. With the G10 skins. And it's weird. Like, I would consider this like a quote-unquote gentleman's knife. It's a little big for a gentleman's knife. But in the rosewood, it sure looks like one. And I would say this is probably the hardest to open and close. I mean, it's not impossible by any means, but I mean, it takes some effort for sure. In terms of, I was asked to go away from my typical rating scale and deal with some specific categories, and I'll go right into that. So action and locking, I do find it hard to open, so I'd give this a 3. Closing's a little easier. Hand feel, it's a 5. This knife is incredible. It feels great. Here is an interesting thing though. I would typically open it like this. Why is the brand name on the other side? But that might help for the people, and the logo. But that might help for the people who don't want to see the word James all the time. I mean, that's how I hold it, right? You know, if I'm going in for the kill, this is it. Not like that. It's ridiculous. And I'm not a lefty either. So we got hand feel, feels incredible. Build quality is great. I mean, I know people complain about, look at that. Thing's perfect. No movement whatsoever. I mean, it's rock solid. EDC-friendly, you know? I'd put it in a bag. I probably wouldn't carry it in my pocket. It's a little heavy and a little thick for a slip joint. Aesthetics, it's a 5. I think it's freaking gorgeous. I think the rosewood might even be prettier. I just wanted something a little bit different than other knives that I had that were in rosewood. So I'd give it a 4 for an overall design. All right. So that's the James. Going on to the West. West is a nice knife. And remember here, I'll give you the size comparison again. All right. You can see it's thicker for sure. West open, much easier to open. And you see how, the slip joint always has that, it has that 3 positions, right? Closed, halfway and open. It's just so much easier than the James. It's not really a knock on the James. I mean, it's a slip joint. I mean, who cares? But boy, this is significantly easier. And I have to say, based off their old model, right, having the little cutout, I don't know if you could see it. This is a cutout right here versus this is a solid. It kind of does make a difference on the grip when you're trying to open it up. So, good for quiet carry to make that little adjustment there. I kind of like that. They also adjusted, probably for weight, the clip from the old version. These are supposed to be the same finish. They're pretty close, I would say. Again, I mean, their stuff's just beautiful. This is slightly off center. The original one that I got from them is perfect. There's no play whatsoever in this knife in any direction. This goes for $168 with the textured finish. The flat, I think, is maybe $5 cheaper. But this weighs, so they're saying that this weighs 1.9 ounces, but it says internal milling. And honestly, I have no freaking clue what that means, because this is coming in at the same weight, not to get ahead of ourselves, as a Tactile. And I don't know. It just feels a little bit lighter. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe they're the same. Or maybe it's without the clip, the weight. I'm not sure. Because, at the end of the day, I'm not really an expert. Oh, and one other thing about the James brand. Some people call it the Apple of knives. You know what? I agree with them. You have to see their packaging and the felt sheath that they give you. It's freaking fantastic. If you can get over that James name. I mean, this is a knife, baby. Look how gorgeous this thing is. All right, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the West. Sorry, West. Got a blade length of 2.5 inches. Closed length, 3.5. Total, overall, 6 inches across. Width is 3.1. So I think that is the same. Is that the same that we had for the, yeah, exact same that we had at the thickest point for the James. I mean, yeah, the James brand. So I'm going to get into the difference in the blade steels in a second. So this blade, yeah, give you a little. There you go. How do you like that? We'll do that for the James too. I didn't give you your little. James needs its close up. Beautiful stuff, man. Look at that. Get rid of that little. Gorgeous. All right, back to the West. I would consider this action 4, maybe even a 5. I mean, it's just solid. Hand feel, I mean, it's a 5. It's a beautiful, it's just a beautiful knife. Build is without question a 5. Though it's funny, I hadn't really noticed this off center before. Do I give it a little nick for that? For being slightly off? Nah, I'm gonna keep it at a 5. Everyday carry friendly. Well, I'll give it a 4. Right? I mean, it's light. It's small. I will say it is by far the smallest blade. I mean, look at the difference. You know, so I guess if that's important to you or not important to you, that could sway someone. I mean, look at the difference in it's a small knife. I would say overall design, I would give it a 4. If I was allowed to give halves, I'd give it a 4.5, most likely. All right, so let's go on to the Tactile Benzar. So there were 3 different blade options, steel options, and I went with the Mega Cut, which is the most corrosive, because based on the Stonewashed finish and the thinness and the weight and this perfect, I consider this like a perfect carry size. I wanted the most corrosion resistant blade, because I'm gonna hike with this sucker. This will probably be my summer hiking for sure, right? I'll just put it in my pocket and sweat it all up, and it won't ever rust, or I won't see any spotting. It's $199, so it's the most expensive. Even though it's not the apple of knives, it's the most expensive. It weighs 2 ounces, which is right in line with the Quiet Carry. And I have to say, it feels lighter than the Quiet Carry, and it's supposed to be slightly heavier. And I just don't believe that that Quiet Carry weight. We have a blade length of 2.84, closed 3/8. You can't see the ruler, can you? Overall, got a 6. There. Looks more than a 6, doesn't it? What do I have this at? Wow, that's definitely wrong. That's like a 6.5. I wrote something down wrong there. I apologize. Width is crazy. 0.23. Just to give you the other ones, they were both 0.31. I mean, a little over 1/10 of an inch is a massive difference in this side. Look at this. In terms of like the way it feels in your pocket, it's you don't even feel it. It's crazy. Action, it's a 5. Very easy to open and close. Again, you know, it stops. It's got that, you know, it's got your stop, your three positions, but it's just incredible. Hand feel, it's an amazing knife. 5. Build quality, 5. Thing is perfect. Though, look at that. Slightly off. That stuff doesn't bother me. But I guess if you want to get picky, it doesn't bother me at all. Because guess what? I'm never looking down like that at a watch. Great, at a knife. aesthetics, a 4. And the only reason I give it a 4 is, and I know why they did this, you see that tiny, tiny little bottom of the circle that's flat? I think they do it so that it can't rotate. But I would have done it something internal, and maybe they didn't have any room because it's so thin. But then the back one, they had to lock one in, it looks like, right? Right, because this is where you do your screw, your tightening from. And otherwise this would just spin, it would be a free spin. But I don't know, that drives me a little crazy. I'm a symmetrical guy. Everything else is symmetrical on the watch. Anyhow, I digress. But I do give it an overall. I give it a 5, and it's the only one of the 3 knives that I give a 5. So let me talk about the blades for 1 second. So we got, so the James, come back out a little bit. So the James is a what they shortened, they call the S35VN, and the West is a again shortened 20CV. So I did some research. The 20CV in essence replaced the S35VN. So this is the weakest, if you want, because they're all considered high-end steel, but this is the weakest of all the blades. So it's the least corrosion resistant, it's the least hard, and it's the one that probably doesn't hold its sharpness quite as long as the other two. The West, which is the 20CV, it has increased edge retention. It's harder to sharpen because of that. So some people might like the James because it's an easier. I mean, at some point you're gonna have to sharpen your knife, right? So it's an easier blade to sharpen, or it's easier steel to sharpen. But this is considered the premium of those two, and then we have the Magna. Oh yeah, baby! It is considered the best of the 3. It has all 3 things together: corrosion resistance, it's hard, and it's tougher than the 20CV, and you don't usually get all 3 together. So the guy who created this really is supposed to be some master. So this is, you like that? I cut myself the other night. So that's it. That's my review. If you're looking for an everyday carry, this is your winner. If you're looking for a gorgeous, well-made, aesthetically pleasing knife, this is your winner. If you're looking for something kind of in between, right? Lightweight, could easily be. I mean, if I took the clip off this, it would probably feel a lot better in my pocket. I'm not a guy, I don't like clipping my pocket knives to my pocket. So I would still pick this without question if I'm putting it in my pocket. Would I carry the West with me in a pack? In a heartbeat. Would I carry it in my coat pocket where it's not going to get sweaty? Yeah, I would do that too, and not feel the weight. But if it's the summer and I have nothing but the pockets of my shorts, that's it, baby. I hope you enjoyed this.